The Awakening. The setting sun painted the sky in hues of orange and purple as Sarah Reeves tended to her small garden. Her calloused hands, once used to wielding weapons, now gently caressed the leaves of her tomato plants. The peaceful Montana countryside stretched out before her, a far cry from the war-torn planets she'd fought on years ago. The cool breeze rustled through the tall grass, carrying with it the scent of pine and wildflowers. Sarah closed her eyes, savoring the moment. 5 years had passed since she'd hung up her combat suit and left behind a life of an interstellar mercenary. 5 years of quiet, of healing, of learning to live without the constant threat of death hanging over her head. "Sarah, I'm home." The voice of her partner, Dr. Daniel Chen, called out from the cabin behind her. A smile tugged at Sarah's lips as she turned to greet him. Daniel's brilliant mind had been instrumental in developing some of the advanced technology that had given humanity an edge in their early encounters with alien races. Now, like her, he sought a simpler life away from the complexities of interstellar politics and warfare. "How was your day at the observatory?" Sarah asked, brushing dirt from her hands as she approached him. Daniel's eyes lit up with excitement. "Incredible. We picked up some unusual signals from the Epsilon Eridani system. It could be nothing, but—" He trailed off, noticing the slight tension in Sarah's shoulders. "Hey, you okay?" Sarah forced a smile. "Just a feeling. Probably nothing." But it wasn't nothing. Years of combat had honed Sarah's instincts to a razor's edge, and right now, those instincts were screaming that something was very, very wrong. As night fell, Sarah found herself unable to sleep. She slipped out of bed, careful not to wake Daniel, and made her way to the cabin's small study. Hidden behind a false panel in the bookshelf was a secure communications terminal, a relic from her past life that she'd never quite been able to let go of. Sarah hesitated, her finger hovering over the power button. Activating this terminal would be like opening Pandora's box, inviting the chaos of her old life back in. But that nagging feeling wouldn't let her rest. With a deep breath, she powered on the device. Almost immediately, it lit up with urgent messages, coded transmissions from her old contacts in the mercenary world. As she decrypted them, her blood ran cold. Reports of increased alien activity near Earth. Sightings of ships belonging to the Zarkax, a notoriously aggressive species that humanity had clashed with before. And most alarmingly, rumors of a planned strike against key human targets. Sarah's mind raced. She needed to warn someone, to do something. But who would believe a retired mercenary living off the grid? A sudden explosion rocked the cabin, shattering the peaceful night. Sarah was thrown to the floor, her combat reflexes kicking in instantly. Through the ringing in her ears, she heard Daniel's panicked shout. "Sarah, what's happening?" She scrambled to her feet, rushing to the bedroom. The roof had partially collapsed, and through the gaping hole, she could see the sleek, predatory shape of a Zarkax assault ship hovering above their home. Daniel stood by the bed, his eyes wide with fear and confusion. "Are those aliens?" Sarah confirmed grimly. "Zarkax. We need to move now." But it was too late. A beam of sickly green light burst through the damaged roof, enveloping Daniel. Sarah watched in horror as the man she loved disintegrated before her eyes, his scream cut short as his body crumbled to ash. Time seemed to stand still. Sarah stared at the spot where Daniel had stood just moments ago, her mind refusing to process what she'd just witnessed. Then, like a dam breaking, years of suppressed combat instincts flooded back. In one fluid motion, Sarah dove for the hidden compartment under the floorboards where she kept her old combat gear. Her hands closed around the familiar grip of her pulse rifle, just as the cabin's front door was blown off its hinges. 3 Zarkax warriors stormed in, their insectoid bodies covered in chidness armor, mandibles clicking in anticipation of an easy kill. They found anything but. Sarah's first shot caught the lead alien in the center of its compound eyes, dropping it instantly. The second alien managed to fire its plasma caster, the energy bolt sizzling past Sarah's ear as she rolled behind the overturned dining table. "You picked the wrong human to fuck with," Sarah snarled, popping up to fire 2 more shots in quick succession. Both found their mark, and the remaining Zarkax fell, green ichor oozing from their wounds. Heart pounding, Sarah did a quick sweep of the cabin's perimeter. The assault ship had retreated, likely surprised by the resistance it had encountered. But Sarah knew this was far from over. As the adrenaline began to ebb, the reality of what had just happened hit her like a physical blow. Daniel was gone. The peaceful life they had built together had been shattered in an instant. Grief threatened to overwhelm her, but Sarah pushed it down, locking it away in a corner of her mind. There would be time to mourn later. Right now, she needed to survive. Moving quickly, Sarah gathered essential supplies and weapons. Her old combat suit, hidden away for years, now encased her body once more. As she stepped out of the ruined cabin, Sarah caught her reflection in a shattered mirror. The face that looked back at her was not that of a retired gardener, but of the deadly mercenary she had once been. Eyes hard, jaw set in grim determination. The Zarkax had made a grave mistake. They had taken everything from her, not realizing they were awakening a force far deadlier than they could imagine. Sarah Reeves, the infamous ghost of Arcturus, was back. As she disappeared into the night, Sarah made a silent vow. She would find out why the Zarkax had come for them. She would uncover whatever plot threatened her home planet, and she would make every last one of them pay for what they had done to Daniel. The hunt was on, and humanity's deadliest defender was back in the game. The hunt begins. The pre-dawn air was crisp as Sarah Reeves made her way through the dense Montana forest. Her combat suit's adaptive camouflage shifted with each step, blending seamlessly with the surrounding foliage. In the distance, she could hear the faint whine of alien engines. The Zarkax were still searching for her. Sarah's mind raced as she moved, piecing together the fragments of information she had. Why had the Zarkax attacked now, after years of uneasy peace, and why target her and Daniel specifically? The answers, she knew, lay beyond Earth's atmosphere. As the first rays of sunlight began to filter through the trees, Sarah reached her destination, a long-abandoned military bunker, its existence scrubbed from official records. She placed her palm on a weathered rock face, and a hidden scanner hummed to life, reading her biometrics. With a pneumatic hiss, a concealed door slid open. Sarah stepped inside, the familiar smell of metal and circuitry filling her nostrils. This had been her fallback point, a secret she'd kept even from Daniel. As lights flickered on, revealing rows of advanced weaponry and communication equipment, a pang of guilt shot through her. How many other secrets had she kept in the name of protecting him? Sarah pushed the thought aside. There was no time for regrets. She activated the bunker's quantum entanglement communicator, a device capable of instantaneous, untraceable communication across vast distances. If anyone could shed light on the situation, it would be her old handler, Marcus. After a tense moment, a gruff voice crackled through the speaker. "Ghost, is that really you?" "It's me, Marcus," Sarah confirmed, her voice tight. "I need information. The Zarkax are here, and they're not just probing our defenses this time." There was a pause. Then Marcus spoke, his tone grave. "It's worse than you know, Ghost. The attack on you wasn't isolated. We got reports coming in from all over. Paris, Tokyo, Johannesburg. Key scientific and military personnel are being targeted. Someone's given the Zarkax a hit list, and they're working their way through it." Sarah's blood ran cold. "Daniel," she whispered. He was working on something at the observatory, something that excited him. "Epsilon Eridani," Marcus said, confirming her suspicion. "We think he stumbled onto something big, something that could shift the balance of power in the galaxy." Sarah's mind whirled with possibilities. "I need to get off-world, Marcus. I need to find out what Daniel discovered, and why it was worth killing him for." "It won't be easy," Marcus warned. "Earth's defensive grid is in chaos. The Zarkax have infiltrated deeper than anyone realized. But I might have a way. There's a smuggler operating out of an old mining facility in the Kuiper Belt. Goes by the name Whisper. If anyone can get you past the blockade, it's her. Sarah nodded, already formulating a plan. Send me the coordinates. And Marcus, thank you. As she ended the transmission, Sarah allowed herself a moment of reflection. The life she had built with Daniel felt like a distant dream now, replaced by the cold reality of combat and survival. But in that pain, in that loss, she found a familiar sense of purpose igniting within her. The next few hours were a blur of preparation. Sarah armed herself with an arsenal that would make a small planetary defense force jealous. Plasma rifles, gravity grenades, nanite injectors. She took only the best, only what she knew she could rely on when facing down an alien horde. As night fell, Sarah emerged from the bunker. In the distance, she could see the faint glow of searchlights. The Zarkax were still hunting her. Let them come, she thought grimly. They would find nothing but ghosts. Sarah made her way to a hidden hangar where an old but reliable stealth shuttle waited. As she fired up the engines, a bittersweet memory surfaced. Daniel, laughing as she tried to teach him how to pilot, his scientist's mind struggling with the intuitive controls. I'll make this right, Sarah whispered, as much to herself as to Daniel's memory. I promise. The shuttle rose silently into the night sky, its stealth systems easily evading the Zarkax patrols. As Earth's atmosphere fell away, replaced by the star-studded expanse of space, Sarah felt a familiar tension settle over her. This was her element, the void between worlds, where only the cunning and the brave survived. Her course was set for the fringes of the solar system, where lawless outposts and hidden stations orbited in the vast darkness. But first, she had a stop to make. The shuttle's engines flared as Sarah expertly maneuvered through the debris field that was once Earth's moon. The battle that had shattered this celestial body had been humanity's first true test against alien aggression. They had won, but at a terrible cost. Hidden among the lunar fragments was a secret facility, a watchpost maintained by an elite group of human operatives. If Sarah was going to unravel this conspiracy, she needed more than just Marcus's intel. As she docked with the hidden station, a familiar face greeted her on the airlock's view screen. Commander Elena Vasquez, her old squadmate from 100 missions across the stars. Sarah. Elena's eyes widened in surprise. When they said the ghost was back, I almost didn't believe it. What the hell is going on down there? Sarah's jaw tightened. It's bad, Elena. Worse than we thought. The Zarkax are making their move, and they're not alone. Someone on our side is feeding them information. Elena's expression hardened. A traitor. That's unthinkable. And yet, here we are. Sarah replied grimly. I need everything you've got on recent Zarkax movements, and any chatter about Epsilon Eridani. Daniel found something there, something worth killing for. As Elena compiled the data, Sarah filled her in on her plan to rendezvous with the smuggler, Whisper. Elena's brow furrowed with concern. Sarah, you can't take on an entire alien armada alone. Let me assemble a team. No, Sarah cut her off. We don't know how deep this goes. The fewer people involved, the better. Besides, a ghost of a smile played on her lips. I work better alone. You know that. Elena nodded reluctantly, knowing better than to argue. As Sarah prepared to leave, Elena caught her arm. Sarah, I'm sorry about Daniel. He was a good man. For a moment, Sarah's carefully constructed walls threatened to crumble. She allowed herself a brief nod of acknowledgement before steeling herself once more. The best, she said softly. And that's why I'm going to make them pay. With the new intel loaded into her shuttle's computer, Sarah set course for the Kuiper Belt. As she pushed the engines to their limit, a message flashed on her console, a coded transmission from an unknown source. The stars hide many secrets, the message read, but the greatest lie in plain sight. Trust no one, Ghost. Not even yourself. Sarah's eyes narrowed. The game was growing more complex by the moment. But she had never backed down from a challenge, and she wasn't about to start now. Whatever forces were aligning against Earth, whatever cosmic secret Daniel had stumbled upon, Sarah was determined to see this through to the end. As her shuttle vanished into the depths of the solar system, Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. The Zarkax and their mysterious allies had no idea what they had awakened. They were about to learn why the ghost of Arcturus was a name whispered in fear across 1,000 worlds. The hunt had truly begun, and Sarah Reeves was ready to remind the galaxy why humanity was a force to be reckoned with. Unexpected allies. The Kuiper Belt stretched before Sarah's shuttle like a cosmic minefield, countless icy bodies drifting in the vast darkness. Her scanners swept the area, searching for the hidden signal that would lead her to Whisper's base of operations. As she navigated through the debris field, Sarah's mind drifted to the encrypted message she had received. Trust no one, it had warned. But in a galaxy teeming with threats, trust might be the only thing standing between humanity and extinction. A faint ping from her console snapped Sarah back to attention. She had found it. A cleverly disguised transmission, hidden in the background radiation of space. Following the signal, Sarah guided her shuttle towards what appeared to be an unremarkable ice dwarf. As she drew closer, the dwarf's surface seemed to shimmer and distort. Suddenly, a massive hangar bay materialized, seamlessly carved into the planetoid's icy shell. Sarah couldn't help but be impressed. This level of cloaking technology was far beyond anything she had encountered before. Sarah docked her shuttle with practiced ease, her combat suit's sensors already analyzing the environment for potential threats. As the airlock cycled, she found herself face to face with a motley crew of aliens and humans, smugglers, mercenaries, and outcasts from a dozen worlds. At their center stood a figure that could only be Whisper, a lithe, silver-skinned being with eyes that seemed to shift color like oil on water. When Whisper spoke, her voice was a melodic whisper that somehow carried clearly across the hangar. "The ghost of Arcturus," Whisper said, a hint of amusement in her tone. "I wondered when you'd find your way to my humble abode. What brings a legend like you to the ass end of the solar system?" Sarah cut straight to the chase. "I need passage beyond the blockade. I'm hunting Zarkax, and I've got credits to spend." Whisper's eyes narrowed, the colors swirling faster. "Zarkax. Ha. Nasty bunch. But credits don't mean much if we all end up dead. What's your game, Ghost?" Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared throughout the base. A panicked voice came over the intercom. "Multiple Zarkax warships incoming. They'd found us." Chaos erupted in the hangar as smugglers and mercenaries scrambled to their ships. Sarah's hand went to her weapon, but Whisper was faster. In a fluid motion, the alien produced a plasma pistol from seemingly nowhere. "You brought them here," Whisper hissed, her melodic voice now laced with venom. Sarah raised her hand slowly. "I didn't, but I can help you fight them off. You've got two choices. Trust me and live, or waste time arguing and die. What's it going to be?" For a tense moment, Sarah thought Whisper might shoot her anyway. Then the alien lowered her weapon. "Fine. But if we survive this, you've got a lot of explaining to do." The next few minutes were a blur of activity. Sarah found herself in Whisper's command center, surrounded by holographic displays showing the approaching Zarkax fleet. It was a formidable force, at least a dozen warships, bristling with weapons. "Your cloaking tech is impressive," Sarah observed, her tactical mind already formulating a plan. "But I'm guessing it won't hold up under concentrated fire." Whisper nodded grimly. "We've got maybe 10 minutes before they break through and turn this place into a cloud of ice particles." Sarah's eyes scanned the displays, taking in the positions of the Zarkax ships. A plan began to form in her mind. Audacious, probably suicidal, but with a slim chance of success. It was the kind of plan that had earned her the nickname Ghost in the first place. "I need control of your defense grid," Sarah said, her fingers already flying over the holographic interface. and I need every ship you've got ready to fly on my mark." Whisper hesitated for only a second before nodding to her crew. "Do it. Whatever crazy plan you've got, Ghost, it better work." Sarah's hands moved with practiced precision, rerouting power, reconfiguring shield harmonics, and plotting trajectories. As she worked, she explained her plan. A plan so insane it just might work. "The Zarkax rely on swarm tactics," Sarah said. "They're not used to fighting alone. We're going to use that against them." With a final command, Sarah activated the base's defense grid. But instead of firing at the approaching ships, the weapons targeted the surrounding ice and debris. In moments, the space around the base was filled with a chaotic maelstrom of ice chunks and rock. "Now," Sarah shouted, "launch every ship you've got." Dozens of ships burst from the hidden hangars, each following a pre-programmed course Sarah had laid out. To the Zarkax sensors, it would appear as if the base had self-destructed, with the debris field masking the escaping ships. As confusion rippled through the Zarkax fleet, Sarah made her move. She had identified the lead ship, a massive dreadnought coordinating the attack. With pinpoint accuracy, she fired a concentrated burst from the base's main cannon, the beam threading through the debris field to strike the dreadnought's command center. The effect was immediate. With their central command disrupted, the Zarkax ships fell into disarray. Some began firing blindly into the debris field, while others collided with each other in the chaos. "All ships, execute attack pattern Delta," Sarah commanded. The smugglers' vessels, a ragtag fleet of modified freighters and gunships, emerged from the debris cloud like avenging angels. They struck hard and fast, targeting the confused Zarkax ships with brutal efficiency. In the command center, Whisper watched in awe as the battle unfolded. "By the void," she whispered, "I've never seen anything like this." Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. "This is why they call me the Ghost. Now, let's finish this." The battle raged for another 20 minutes, but the outcome was never in doubt. Sarah's tactical genius, combined with the surprising skill of Whisper's crew, proved too much for the Zarkax. In the end, the alien fleet retreated, leaving behind a graveyard of shattered ships. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Sarah found herself face to face with Whisper once more. But this time, there was no hostility in the alien's ever-shifting eyes, only respect and perhaps a hint of fear. "I've seen a lot in my time, Ghost," Whisper said softly, "but never anything quite like that. You've earned your passage, and maybe something more. I think it's time we had a real talk about what's going on out there." Sarah nodded, her mind already racing with the implications of what had just happened. The Zarkax shouldn't have been able to find this base. Someone had led them here. The same someone who had given them the hit list on Earth. As she followed Whisper to a private room, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that she had just stumbled onto something far bigger than she had imagined. The conspiracy ran deep, spanning worlds and species. But she was close now, close to uncovering the truth, close to avenging Daniel. And as the unlikely alliance between a legendary human mercenary and a mysterious alien smuggler began to form, Sarah knew one thing for certain. The real battle was only just beginning. The infiltration, the depths of space stretched endlessly before Sarah as she stood on the bridge of Whisper's flagship, the Starweaver. The sleek vessel glided silently through the void, its advanced stealth systems rendering it virtually invisible to both conventional and alien sensors. Sarah's mind raced as she processed the information Whisper had shared. The smuggler's network stretched far and wide, gathering secrets from the darkest corners of the galaxy. And what those secrets revealed was troubling. "It's not just the Zarkax," Whisper had told her, her shifting eyes grave. "There's a coalition forming, different species, all united by one goal, the subjugation of humanity." The revelation had hit Sarah like a physical blow. Humanity had made enemies since venturing into the stars. True, but this level of coordination was unprecedented. But why? Sarah had asked. Why now? Whisper's answer had been simple, yet chilling. Fear. Your kind adapts too quickly, learns too fast. Some species see humanity as an existential threat to the established order of the galaxy. Now, as they approached the coordinates of a suspected Zarkak stronghold, Sarah felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. She wasn't just fighting for personal vengeance anymore. The fate of her entire species hung in the balance. "We're approaching the target." Whisper's melodic voice cut through Sarah's thoughts. "Sensors are picking up heavy defenses. Whatever's in there, they're guarding it well." Sarah nodded, her tactical mind already formulating a plan. "Can your cloaking tech get us close enough for a covered insertion?" Whisper's lips curled into a sly smile. "Ghost, my tech can dance us right through their front door if that's what you need." As they drew closer, the Zarkak's facility came into view. A massive space station, bristling with weapon emplacements and surrounded by a swarm of patrol ships. At its core was a structure unlike anything Sarah had seen before, a spherical chamber that pulsed with an eerie, otherworldly energy. "That's it," Sarah breathed. "That has to be where they're keeping whatever Daniel discovered." The next hour was a flurry of preparation. Sarah donned her most advanced stealth suit, a prototype she had acquired during her mercenary days. Its adaptive camouflage and energy-dampening fields would make her nearly undetectable. Whisper surprised her by insisting on joining the mission. "I've got a stake in this too," the alien smuggler said, hefting a sleek rifle of clearly non-human design. "Besides, someone needs to watch your back." As they prepared to board a small infiltration craft, Sarah felt a moment of doubt. She was about to dive headfirst into the heart of enemy territory, with only an alien smuggler she barely knew as backup. The odds were not great. But then she thought of Daniel, of Earth, of the billions of lives hanging in the balance. Her resolve hardened. This was what she was made for. The infiltration went smoother than Sarah could have hoped. Whisper's tech was as good as promised, slipping them past the Zarkak's defenses like ghosts in the night. Soon, they were deep within the space station, making their way towards the mysterious central chamber. As they moved through the alien corridors, Sarah couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. It was too easy. Where were the guards? The security systems? It felt less like an infiltration and more like a trap, Sarah hissed, just as alarms began to blare throughout the station. Whisper's eyes widened, colors swirling in panic. "How? My cloaking tech is perfect." But Sarah wasn't listening. Her enhanced senses, honed by years of combat, had picked up something else, a familiar scent, one that shouldn't be there. Her blood ran cold as realization dawned. "It's not your tech," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "They knew we were coming. We've been betrayed." Before Whisper could respond, the corridor filled with a sickly green light. Sarah's combat reflexes kicked in, pushing Whisper to cover just as a barrage of plasma fire erupted around them. "Well, well," a voice echoed through the corridor, dripping with malice. "The ghost of Arcturus, walking right into my web. I must say, I'm almost disappointed at how easy this was." Sarah's heart pounded as she recognized the voice. It belonged to Zarthor, supreme commander of the Zarkak's forces, and the alien who had personally led the attack on her home. "Come now, Ghost," Zarthor taunted. "Surely you didn't think your little crusade would go unnoticed. We've been waiting for you." Sarah's mind raced. How had they known? Who could have possibly? And then it hit her. The encrypted message she had received back at the lunar base. "Trust no one," it had said. "Not even yourself." With growing horror, Sarah realized the truth. Her memories, her very identity, they had been compromised. Somehow, the enemy had found a way to manipulate her, to use her as an unwitting pawn in their grand design. But even as despair threatened to overwhelm her, Sarah felt something else rising within her, a fierce, unbridled rage. She might have been manipulated, but she was still the ghost of Arcturus, and she would be damned if she'd go down without a fight. "Whisper," Sarah growled, her voice low and dangerous. I hope you're as good in a firefight as you are at smuggling, because things are about to get very, very messy." Whisper's eyes flashed with a mix of fear and excitement. "Just point me at the bad guys, Ghost. I've got your back." With a nod, Sarah readied her weapons. The odds were stacked against them, trapped in the heart of enemy territory with no hope of backup. But as the sound of approaching Zarkak's troops filled the air, Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. They wanted a ghost. She'd give them a ghost. It was time to remind the galaxy why humanity was a force to be reckoned with. And when the dust settled, she'd unravel this conspiracy, no matter the cost. The real battle was about to begin, and Sarah Reeves was ready to unleash hell. Humanity's stand. The corridors of the Zarkak space station erupted into chaos as Sarah and Whisper fought their way through waves of alien soldiers. Plasma bolts sizzled through the air, leaving scorch marks on the metallic walls. Sarah moved with inhuman speed and precision, her augmented reflexes allowing her to dance between enemy fire while unleashing devastation with her own weapons. Whisper proved to be a formidable ally, her alien weaponry cutting down Zarkak's troops with terrifying efficiency. "I'm starting to see why they call you the Ghost," Whisper shouted over the din of battle, a note of admiration in her melodic voice. But Sarah barely heard her. Her mind was racing, trying to piece together the fragments of memory and information swirling in her head. How much of what she knew was real? How much was implanted, a carefully constructed lie designed to lead her into this trap? As they fought their way closer to the central chamber, Sarah's comlink crackled to life. "Having fun, Ghost?" Zarthor's mocking voice echoed in her ear. "I must say, you're putting on quite a show. It's almost a shame we have to end it." "What did you do to me?" Sarah snarled, ducking behind a fallen Zarkak soldier and returning fire. "How did you get inside my head?" Zarthor's laughter sent chills down her spine. "Oh, my dear Ghost, we didn't have to do anything. You did it all yourself." Before Sarah could process his words, the corridor ahead of them opened up into a vast chamber, the pulsing, spherical structure they had seen from outside. But what awaited them inside made Sarah's blood run cold. Suspended in the center of the chamber, surrounded by a web of alien technology, was Daniel. "No," Sarah whispered, her voice breaking. "It's not possible." Daniel's eyes fluttered open, focusing on Sarah with a mix of relief and horror. "Sarah," he croaked, his voice weak. "You shouldn't have come. It's all my fault." Zarthor's voice boomed through the chamber. "Welcome, Ghost, to the culmination of our grand design. Your precious Daniel isn't dead, at least not entirely. His brilliant mind proved to be the key we needed to unlock the secrets of the universe." As Sarah stared in disbelief, the pieces began to fall into place. The attack on their home, her crusade across the stars, it had all been orchestrated to bring her here, to this moment. "You see," Zarthor continued, stepping into view on a platform above them. "Daniel's work at the Epsilon Eridani Observatory led him to discover something extraordinary, a way to manipulate the very fabric of reality. But his human mind couldn't contain the knowledge. It was breaking him." Daniel's pained expression confirmed the alien's words. "I'm sorry, Sarah," he gasped. "I couldn't control it. The knowledge, it was too much." Zarthor's mandibles clicked in what might have been a smile. "We saved him, in our way. We contained his consciousness, used it to power our new weapon. And you, my dear Ghost, were the final piece of the puzzle." Sarah's mind reeled. "The memory implants," she realized. "You used Daniel's knowledge to create false memories, to guide me here." "Precisely," Zarthor nodded. "We needed your skills, your determination. Who better to test our new reality-warping weapon than the legendary Ghost of Arcturus? Every battle you fought, every ally you made, it was all part of the test." Rage boiled within Sarah, threatening to consume her. But beneath the anger, a cold, calculating part of her mind was already formulating a plan. She had been manipulated, yes, but she was still herself. And if there was one thing Sarah Reeves excelled at, it was turning the tables on her enemies. "You made one mistake, Zarthor," Sarah said, her voice deadly calm. "You should have killed me when you had the chance." In a blur of motion, Sarah activated a hidden function in her combat suit. A pulse of electromagnetic energy erupted from her, temporarily shorting out the alien technology around them. In the moment of confusion, she launched herself at the containment field holding Daniel. Whisper, quick to catch on, provided covering fire, her alien weapon keeping the recovering Zarkak's troops at bay. "Whatever you're planning, Ghost, make it quick," she shouted. Sarah's hands flew over the alien controls, her augmented mind deciphering the complex systems with remarkable speed. She could feel Daniel's consciousness brushing against her own, guiding her actions. "Sarah," Daniel's voice echoed in her mind. "The weapon, it's not just a weapon. It's a key to something bigger than all of us." Understanding dawned on Sarah. The coalition of alien races, their fear of humanity. It all stemmed from this moment, this discovery. With this technology, the very nature of reality was up for grabs. As alarms blared, and Zarthor bellowed orders to his troops, Sarah made her choice. She wasn't just fighting for herself anymore, or even for Earth. She was fighting for the future of the entire galaxy. With a final command, Sarah reversed the flow of energy in the containment field. Daniel's physical form began to dissolve, but Sarah could feel his consciousness merging with hers, sharing the incredible knowledge he had discovered. The chamber erupted into blinding light as the full power of the alien device was unleashed. Sarah felt herself being torn apart and remade, her very essence intertwining with the fabric of space-time. When the light faded, Sarah stood transformed. Power coursed through her veins, the secrets of the universe laid bare before her mind. She turned to face Zarthor, her eyes glowing with otherworldly energy. "You wanted to reshape reality." Sarah's voice echoed with power. "Let me show you how it's done." With a thought, Sarah rewrote the laws of physics within the chamber. Zarkak's weapons crumbled to dust. Alien technology sparked and died. Whisper watched in awe as Sarah single-handedly turned the tide of battle. But even as victory seemed within reach, Sarah felt the power threatening to overwhelm her. Daniel's voice, a fading whisper in her mind, warned her of the danger. This power was too much for any one being to wield. In a moment of clarity, Sarah understood what needed to be done. With the last of her strength, she reached out, not just to the Zarkaks, but to every sentient being in the galaxy. In a burst of psychic energy, she shared the knowledge, distributing it equally among all species. The effect was immediate and profound. Across the galaxy, age-old conflicts suddenly seemed petty and meaningless in the face of the vast, unified understanding that now connected all sentient life. As the power faded from her, Sarah collapsed to her knees. Whisper rushed to her side, supporting her. Around them, confused Zarkak's troops lowered their weapons, the fight gone out of them. "What did you do?" Whisper asked in awe. Sarah managed a weak smile. "I leveled the playing field. No more secrets, no more fear of the unknown. We're all in this together now." In the days that followed, the galaxy experienced a transformation unlike anything in its history. The coalition against Earth crumbled as species turned their focus inward, grappling with the newfound knowledge and understanding. Sarah, hailed as both hero and harbinger, found herself at the center of a new galactic order. The power she had briefly wielded was gone, but in its place was a deep, abiding connection to the universe and all its inhabitants. As she stood on the observation deck of a newly christened peacekeeping vessel, staring out at the star-studded expanse, Sarah felt Daniel's presence one last time. "You did it, Sarah," his voice whispered in her mind. "You showed them the best of humanity. You gave the galaxy a chance at real peace." Sarah smiled, a single tear trailing down her cheek. The ghost of Arcturus was no more. In her place stood a beacon of hope for a unified galaxy, a testament to humanity's indomitable spirit and capacity for growth. As the ship prepared to embark on its maiden voyage, Sarah took a deep breath. The future was uncertain, filled with challenges and opportunities in equal measure. But for the first time in a long while, she felt ready to face it. After all, she mused as the stars streaked past, that's what humans do best. We adapt, we overcome, and we never, ever give up. The hunt was over. A new adventure was just beginning.